Thank
I
you.
think we're
Thank
live now.
you. Say that again.
We're live now.
Good. Hey, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm all right. It's Wednesday, so yeah,
Another.
always a good day.
Say that again.
Always a good day, Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. And middle of the week, so there's lots to look forward to.
It's actually middle of the week. So this is 12:49 my time, UK. So we are literally middle of the week, so
Fine.
to speak.
Yeah. And another day to talk about one of my most exciting topics to talk about AI,
Hmm.
which I just really do enjoy. So if you're joining us for the first time, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And today, on this podcast, we talk about everything AI, how you can adopt it in real world scenarios. Nothing theory, just simple ways that you can adopt AI within your business. And we also talk about the different topics, help you break it down so you know exactly what it is that it means and how it applies to your business. So today, we will be delving into agentic AI. Everyone's been talking about agents, haven't they? Can I?
Mm-hmm.
We'll be
Yeah,
helping everyone.
there's agents, there's AI, there's agentic AI,
The
there's
workflows that we've always known or automate, which are we've always known, always been automated, but we need to now come and try and make a distinction between what that means. In fact, I think we can throw custom assistants do into the mix as well, because again, it helps you automate something, but that type of automation is different from workflows and is different from what an agent would do. So, without further ado, we're just going to go into what exactly agentic AIs are. Do you want to go? Can I? You can tell me how you use it if you use it in your business at all.
yeah, happy to. Or do you think so? Let's assume everybody's today AI. Everybody has heard of AI. If you don't use ChatGPT or Claude or
None.
Grok or there's so many different flavors out there, you are probably not on this planet. So AI is there. But a lot of people don't know the difference. So when we say AI, it's such a woolly term, I think. Today, like you said, we're looking at agentic AI, which is slightly different from generative AI, which is really what ChatGPT is. And if I had to define agentic AI, I probably put it this way. I'll say, think of software that can make decisions, that can take actions, and that can carry out multi-step tasks without being micromanaged. In a simple term, that's how I look at it. It doesn't just answer questions like you would find with the likes of Claude and ChatGPT. It actually performs the work end to end based on the goals that you've set for it. I
Yes.
think that would be my simple explanation of it. And if I had to give an example, I'll say because we work with accounting firms. So if you think of a small accounting firm and they have to upload receipts into a software there. Now, instead of having to sort the receipts out manually or by prompting an AI like Claude, repeated or chat gpt repeated, because you could do it with those tools. The fact of the matter is that you can actually take your invoices or receipts, pop it into those tools, tell it what to do, and then it will do it, right? An AI agent goes a step further. So once you have uploaded the receipts, the agent knows to read the receipts, knows to categorize it based on what is being trained on, identifies the anomalies, updates Zero or QuickBooks or whatever accounting application you have. It can equally email clients about missing docs and prepares a draft month-end pack without human intervention. So all it needs is the trigger that says, "Ooh, receipts have come in," and then everything else it can do. But I think this is where you're going to say this is like what workflow that already exists, wouldn't
Well,
you?
yes. However, I think what I would say that is different is workflows are predetermined steps. So you already know this is going to happen. There's things that you would normally do, but you're saying, okay, when this happens, don't do this. And they don't veer outside of those predetermined actions. However, agentic workflows can make the decision, this looks slightly different. And if I kind of throw into the mix, you said something about generative AI earlier. Now, generative AI is sort of what sits under it all. It's just simply the software, the AI generating new content every time. And that's where it being able to make those decisions, because it's thinking, this doesn't look like what I already know. Let me think again and create new within my set parameters still. So it's still working within a set parameters. But what it also do that agentic AI does is it learns from previous mistakes. So it knows that, okay, I've done it this way, this is not right, we need to try another way. And that's where the generating and being able to generate new things every single time comes into play. So it makes decisions, but again, based on parameters and guardrails that you've given it. And that's where it's different. Workflows, on the other hand, was when what you see in tools like marketing tools, for instance, sales marketing tools, where you say it's happening. It also needs a trigger. When this happens, send this email. That email sometimes will already have been populated into it, but you can put AI in the mix and say, you know what, rather than go down my predefined email, generate an email based on this, and it will do that. So that's kind of what I wanted to throw in the mix.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, so really, in terms of the difference between traditional automation or regular AI and agentic AI is really the fact that the traditional automation repeats predefined steps.
Yeah.
Right? So regular AI will answer queries, so traditional automation follows a workflow. Regular AI will generate answers to queries.
Yes.
And then so what you really have, so in a sense, you could say that agentic AI is a combination of the two, isn't it? So on one hand, it can do the thinking, like regular AI. And then on the other hand, it can do the doing, like traditional automation. So adapting step-by-step conditions as conditions change.
Yes.
Okay.
It does adapt based on any new change, like what you just said. So it's interesting that, you hear it being talked about, and you need to know at what point you need to use what. Because you don't want to just jump into agentic AI if your processes have holes, have leaks, and it's not working well. So if you still feel like there is still a lot of, mini tasks that need to be done, look at each task, make sure you fine-tune those tasks. Otherwise, if you automate anything using agents, you're just automating
garbage in, garbage out, like we say.
You're automating a flawed system.
100%.
And you come and you find out that this thing is not right. That's number one. The other thing I think we need to also highlight is, yes, whilst it's good to automate, and you need to keep a human in the loop, someone who knows what is happening, who knows what good looks like at the end of the, what's that word now? The conveyor belt.
Yes. Yeah. So you still need to do the checks, the audits, and the quality assurance, so to speak, to make sure that it's doing the right thing. So 100%. 100%. And I think that you make a valid point there, Tosin, because I think we must always realize that these are all tools at the end of the day. No matter how sophisticated the tool is, it still is a tool. And the tool will only be as good as the person using it.
And the foundation that's been put in place by a human.
Yes, 100%.
And interesting. I was listening to an Microsoft AI summit last week. And one of the core things that came out of it was something called the frontier teams.
Okay.
So basically new teams coming up who are using AI. But what he said was, rather than have a look at it as AI is coming to take my job, it is how can AI be a part of my team? So you find out that whilst you're not really managing a person, that person is probably gone on to another team. You will be managing a team of AI agents.
Yeah.
Which means you have an oversight. You have oversight of what it is that they're doing. And it's for every leader to then look at what you do, what should we hand off to AI, and what should we keep in the hands of a human.
Yeah, it's interesting. You got so yeah. My and I think I like the way you position this because in my conversations with businesses, small businesses, it's exactly that. It's so for me, I'm seeing the demarcation for me really is between having a human employee versus having a digital employee, right? So I think that's where things are going. And you're exactly correct. In the past, it was about because we have all these very low scale, low interest type of work. So things like data entry, where people are doing copy paste.
And high human error.
And yeah, so you have high human, but high human error, exactly. High human error is the consequence of using highly capable tools, humans, sorry, to do what really a whole in some sense could do, should do, right? So I remember back in the day, if you had to take data from a receipt, from a document, and then you're spending an entire day just clicking things in. That's your job, right? And then somebody was, as a supervisor, all they were doing was to make sure that A, you're doing that typing, and B, you're not making those errors. Okay? So somebody still had to supervise me in that position. So that hasn't, to your point, that hasn't changed. The only thing that we know is that if that junior employee is trained properly, the quality of their job, the output will be of higher quality. The number of errors will reduce. So the level of supervision required per individual member of that team will reduce. But overall, so now as a supervisor, I now have to check the work of 10, 20, 100, 1,000 agents, making sure that the work is of good quality and then pass it on.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think so it's who's doing the job that's changing. But
Yeah.
but equally means, Tosin, equally means that people who used to spend their entire early career doing very low level work can now start their career doing things that they quite enjoy.
Is exactly right, because it means even junior analysts can do more quicker. It
100%.
means they're not doing tasks that don't improve them. But I think this whole change is just going to mean a different way of doing what we currently do, and the org chart will completely change. So you would see agents in the org charts, you know, where you can say, okay, this is done by a digital agent, and then you will be the agent boss, and that is your job to make sure that your machines work and deliver what needs to be. So it's really rethinking the way we work. Yes, there are some job roles that will go, but jobs may stay if people are then, taking the time to upskill and find the best. Because I think there is no machine that can take your experience. Yes, it may know how you do your work, but there are some things that human intuition that the machine would not have. With any of the LLMs we use, for them to perform optimally, you have to feed them information. And you have to have a 4-eye check, because if I know what good looks like, I know what bad output I've been given, and I can push back on that. And I can shape the output, because I know what good should look like.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, though. I listened to Google's CEO, Sundar Pichai, last week, I think it was. It was talking about what's likely going to happen, and I think ultimately, I'm not sure there is any particular job that's immune to AI and agentic AI in particular. The nature of what we do might change, but I don't think any, because I think he said something along the lines of they asked him a question about what of him as CEO, and he said, if you think about it, ultimately, with enough training, if his job is really decision making, and future pacing and things like that, these are the kind of things that ultimately, with enough data infused into it, AI should be able to do. So at that point, what do we do as humans? I can't answer that, but I think there'll definitely be a place for us in the scheme of things.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, AI can give you. See, there are some times that the data is not enough to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That is what AI cannot do. AI can give you the data.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the intuition is what makes you say, I get the data, but this is not right. So there is still that element of, I believe, that human input that is not going anywhere. Because otherwise, who guides it? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
If today, with all the data that we fed into AI,
Mm-hmm.
AI works. I mean, a lot of people have complained about ChatGPT 4, for instance, because it's very affirming. I found it to affirming. It's annoying because you can't just agree with everything I say. That means you're not critiquing what I'm. You get it?
Yes.
People were happy with that, and then ChatGPT 5 came, and they didn't like it because it wasn't agreeing with everything. And I felt, there was a fine balance, but I still felt I needed a bit more critique. So imagine if I give it a request, it gives me an output. I've seen an error. I've several times when it's giving me citations, I've just copied it, put it into Google or Perplexity. I want to make sure that and many instances, some of them are not right. If I didn't do my due diligence, I would have taken that information. So that means what I'm trying to say is, yes, it can give me data, but data can still be wrong because
100%.
it can. I know AI can, connect dots that humans cannot see. But ultimately, it should be a case of this is what I found. Make a decision on that basis.
Yeah, so you can do so almost like do the analysis, do the research, and then present me with the options.
Yes.
And then I can now make the informed decision.
Yeah.
Which is a fair point. And that's what we are. I think, I think it will be futile at this point to start wondering where AI will be in the future. So let's deal with the now. And
Yes.
so what are you, one of the questions that we're looking at is, what are some of the best early use cases for small businesses? What are you finding?
Oh, well, I would say customer service.
Okay.
In just regular data analysis, research, so maybe a company is looking to create new products and go into new markets. That data, AI can really help in that space. I would say lead generation as well.
Okay.
Automated lead generation and follow up, because those are some of the spaces that I've seen businesses using that.
So let's go a bit deeper. So how would agentic AI help a small business with lead generation? How would that work in practice?
Okay. Say we come up with an automation to scrape data. And it starts with, I create an automation in a tool like N8N, and I say every morning go into this platform and scrape data about a set parameter. This type of person on this within this kind of earning this kind of revenue. I set those parameters. Now take all that information, dump it into an Excel spreadsheet. At this point, no human is involved. I then say clean this data on this basis, and then dump it on this page so that I know I have clean data. The next thing I can then do is send emails to these people, generate this kind of email, because what I want to do is I want it personalized, right? I don't want it to seem like a human is not sitting there writing. So I'm saying know enough about this person. So at that point, the system might say, now go on to LinkedIn and find all the information, what their roles are. Find me enough information about this one person. And I may only be doing it for just 10 people, just so that I can have a decent, contact. And I'm not just doing 300. So it's a lot of thinking put behind it. So I said, go out, find enough information about this CEO, know as much as you can, and we all leave digital footprints. If it's not a LinkedIn post about our views, and AI can sense the sentiment sometimes in some of those posts that we put out there. I then say, okay, this is what I need. This is what my service is. Now send a customized email specifically to this person and either present my offer or just a warm introduction. I've seen your post and I'm interested in this, and you made an interesting topic. Again, AI is doing all of this. But at this point, for me, and this is where I would always say I want a human in the loop. I won't want that message to go out automatically. I'd want it to be sent somewhere, maybe to my email, where I can review it, approve it before it's sent out. But it would have done all of the legwork from this. Is something that if I had to do would take me hours for each person, and I'll only probably be limited to researching them on LinkedIn. I might not be able to check any of that because of the amount of hours it's going to take for me to go find out information about this person. So AI has done the heavy lifting. I just need to go there and say, am I happy with the tone? And again, when we're talking about tone, it would already have been trained on how I speak, how my brand is perceived outside, so that when it writes, it's writing in my tone of language. So a lot of work is done upfront, but once it's done and it's set, it's just a matter of me making sure that I do my due diligence before the email goes out to anyone.
Okay, so all right, so now it's going to start getting interesting. So I'm a small business. What you just said makes perfect sense. I can see how that's going to help. Does that mean that I need to do the coding, setting it up, all those kind of? How do I train my agent? How do I get it to start working and doing all this fancy stuff for me?
Well, you certainly don't need to. Like I said, I mentioned a tool called NA10. You can either put on that platform, or there's simpler platforms where it's just a matter of connecting boxes so that you need to do what you need to do. And like Relay app would help you. That Zapier is another very easy one. A lot of these tools are they're quite intuitive in the way they're set up.
So self-learning.
Quite easy for you to use. So yes, straightforward. You can build that out and test it on a small scale before you make it a permanent, fully automated process. But I would say before any business starts to consider automation, first of all, look at where your time is leaking within your business. What do you do that's repetitive? Before you even, so I've said lead generation, yes, might be, we all need new people in our businesses, but you have to make sure that the process of when you even have a lead in and what happens, the onboarding is seamless, because you don't want people to come in and you don't have a system to follow up with them. So first of all, auditing all of your internal processes, see where you can quickly or immediately save time, and that's where I would always say start with.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think other areas, because I think you mentioned quite a few there. Other areas I find, so if you think of accounting, bookkeeping, these are good examples as well. So if you're thinking of bookkeeping and reconciliations, customer support, I think you mentioned already.
We were just talking about a process earlier that you offer for small businesses to automate. What I mean, essentially, it just sounds so amazing, because what it means is businesses can scale because they're not doing the copy and paste. They can actually look at and even offer more value to their clients.
100%. I mean, as an example, a plumbing business example, they used an agent to process incoming job quotes. So the agent will extract customer data, update the CRM, generate the quote PDFs and send to customer, and then schedule reminders just in case he doesn't hear back. Just chase it.
If we take that a step further, if
Yeah,
it's a plumbing business, but say it's a different kind of business, they can then still generate a proposal off the back of that.
100%.
All before a human has to sit down at their desk.
Yeah.
Because about these businesses that are out all the time,
Mm.
it, they're not losing customers because they have a place where people can go and the automation kicks off once somebody makes a request for their service.
100%.
I think
And
it's
so, as a small business, then, do you think there's value? What kind of return on investment can they expect from implementing agentic AI?
oh,
What's possible?
I think there is a lot of savings. There's a lot for me. I think the first thing would be they're able to scale, they're able to serve more people,
Mm.
give more value because now time is freed up. So imagine
Mm.
if you suddenly had 10 hours a week in your business
Mm.
and you're thinking, what do I do with this time? You're able to do more blue sky thinking
Mhm.
and moving your business forward. And I think that is a massive ROI, even if we don't put a figure to it just yet.
Yeah, but I think you could actually. So if we unpick it a little bit, so the immediate savings will come from fewer human hours, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So time people were spending on grunt work. Let's deal with that scenario. So someone whose day job now is copy paste, making entries, uh checking, clicking buttons, blah 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 blah, to get stuff prepped. Suddenly you're not doing that anymore. Okay. And then you're using a lower cost solution to do that. So immediate the time spent there is gone. So the hourly cost has been, well, reduced, if not eliminated. So there's that time savings.
Yes.
And then we now move into the value. So because they are no longer doing the grunt work, I can either get them retrained, like you said earlier, to do the higher value customer facing work. So either advising in the case of the sector that will work with the accountants and the bookkeeping firms, advising clients, on different areas of their business. So now you can spend more time because AI is now giving you the data. Yeah. So they're doing
Yeah.
all that. So suddenly you're now looking more deeply at at your clients to understand their business better. Where are they spending money? Where are the opportunities for growth? Where are the opportunities for them to get tax efficient? All those nice things that we would have loved to do, but we didn't have time, right? Suddenly we can do that. And we can do that for more people.
Yes. Yes. And it's interesting. I think although this is not a direct correlation, so having spoken to a few business owners, their biggest holdback in where it comes to AI is I won't be able to give personal service to my clients. But now the grunt work has gone away. It's freed up this one person to say, you know what, call my client, see how they're doing. How are we doing? Are we delivering the right value? So they're still able to do that.
Mm.
They've just been freed up to do some of the, because, and I mean, an email, as long as an email doesn't mean I'm not giving personalized service to my clients.
Mhm.
However, someone can actually now, because they're not sitting down, copying and pasting, writing those hundreds emails, everything is now automated. It now means someone can actually call the client
Mhm.
and they can speak to a human being and say, where are we with this? How can we serve you better? You understand? It freed up that time for them to actually deliver that personal service to their client.
100%. I mean, like as very good example would be, so suddenly you have time, you're reaching out to all your clients to say, do you know what? Let's book in a 30-minute consultation. Let me even, because I've been looking at your numbers, I think there are opportunities for you to ABC in these areas. Which client would not want to have that conversation with you if it's going to help them? And it doesn't matter which area of professional service or what business you do, you're saying, let me see how we can help you more so they can get more value for what you pay me today. And opportunities, and everybody loves that. Customers love being supported. So
Yeah.
suddenly you have the time, you're giving it to them. I mean, good example. So one of a client of ours, bookkeeping practice, they deployed an agent to handle client bank feed exceptions and missing documents and reconciliations. And because of that, they didn't have to hire an admin assistant that they had planned to do, which saved them time. We saved them I don't know what an admin assistant will cost now. I think at least 25,000 pounds a year. And at the same time, they were able to double the volume, the client work that they could do without burnout for the existing two-person team. So those are the kind of stories that you start hearing from small businesses who have started adapting their processes and their operating model and adopting AI automation within the firm.
I mean, I would say leveraging technology, just
Generally speaking,
because, and I was just saying, who is even to say that you want to feel that freed up time with anything? Because we all want to have time to do the things that matter. Because that might already have been, a lot of things might have been ignored whilst you're building the business, because it was always just you before you grew your team. And it's rediscovering that again, because now you've got this extra time. And the truth is, space allows you to think.
100%.
It does allow you to think.
100%. All right, so flip side, let me ask a flip side. What tasks should not be automated with agentic AI yet? Any ideas?
I believe anything that requires anything that is directly related to maybe major client decision making, I would say keep to a human.
Okay.
Enough information to help you make that decision. But keep it up to the very last minute. Make sure that it's a human doing that, because what if AI technology is not always perfect. It's not without errors. And you don't want to send an email because AI cannot tell what customer is what, for whatever reason, gets his wires crossed and sends the wrong email to your biggest client. So I think it's just making sure that you're very cautious. Keep a human in the loop. Anything that requires life-changing decisions, I would say no, let a human make that decision, but get as much information as you can to enable you to make that decision. I think that's
definitely. I agree with you 100% on that. So anything requiring heavy judgment, usually based on nuance. Usually based, so anything that has to do with relationships or context that can't be encoded, right? So it doesn't follow a strict
state. I need a bit of human.
So there's nuance. It depends on so how you treat with A, how you deal with A isn't exactly how you deal with B. So there's that context that I need to understand before.
And I think anything regulatory as well shouldn't just be completely automated. Again, just I mean, we've recently seen in the news how companies are getting citations wrong mainly because AI, like I said, AI will give you is eager. It will give you information. It will never come back and say, I mean, I haven't prompted AI and got, I don't know anything about that. It hasn't happened yet. So it will always give you something.
The
question is that something right?
Unless you tell it not to.
Yes.
Which
make sure that give me references. But then even if it gives you references, you want to make sure that you still double check it.
100%.
And I think anything that also has requires sensitivity, like you said, should be solely handled.
You should be careful with that, And then what of tasks with inconsistent or messy workflows that change periodically?
Oh, I think that's another thing that because a human will be able to tell. Sometimes you can tell based on history where there is something not quite right. So I think that's another thing that.
I think the only other thing I'll add to that, 100%. The only other thing I'll add to that is probably edge case heavy processes. So anything that has to, I think you already said that anything that is more edgy,
Yeah.
try to avoid giving to an agent, wherever possible.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. That the context could be misconstrued. Keep it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a story. So there's a retailer, they try to use agents
Yeah.
to handle supplier negotiations. Don't ask me why anybody will think of doing that. But you know how it is. It's not face to face. It's comms, emails back and forth, and they've trained their agents on company, how we work, our partnership policies, blah 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 blah, and all that, and then let their agent loose. And as the story goes, the agent didn't quite understand for a particular strategic partner. He didn't quite understand the relationship history, and he was applying a tone that was a bit wrong, and nearly damaged a long-standing partnership.
I know.
So, lesson there.
But sorry, our AI doesn't know our history, and I think that's I mean, in that respect, I would say yes, you can start off conversations, where it's new and we're saying this is what we expect, this is what you should expect from us, all of that groundwork,
Yeah,
and then hand off to a human. Who
100%.
manages, because there's sometimes that you just cannot, your big clients, your valuable clients
Mm.
cannot, just
You can't fob them off to a piece of software. Yeah, 100%, 100%. All right, so it's interesting. I think we're coming up to time. I think is always interesting. What other thing comes to mind for you from, when you think, what else should people be aware of, be conscious of, be thinking of when it comes to agentic AI, small businesses in particular?
So we've covered when they should or shouldn't use it.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it would be, how does it impact my workforce?
You okay?
Yeah, that's one thing, because I've heard businesses saying,
Will,
"Oh,
will it will it replace everybody I have?
and I think in those discussions, I think as businesses we want to be a bit cautious, because what does that mean for someone who suddenly comes into work and said, your job has been replaced by AI? I'm sure that's not how organizations will handle it. However, there's got to be some sort of plan for because we know this change is coming.
Yes.
What am I even saying? We know this change is here.
It's here.
Yes. Bigger organizations are adopting it. Again, that's a different discussion entirely, because the way they're adopting it, I'm not sure how much ROI they're getting from their big investments.
Mhm.
I believe that there's a lot more return on investment for smaller businesses, because
so.
they do it very quickly.
Mhm.
You can take the change in, immediately see this is not working, and switch.
Right.
Or this technology is not working, or build small, use it, and then build on it. And that's not the way I see bigger organizations adopting it. But again, like I said, that's a different conversation. But my perspective has always been, keep the human in the loop, keep the human in the center of everything, because your experience is key, especially where AI or any new technology is concerned. So for it to really work, you need to bring your people along.
100%.
If somebody's job is going to be impacted, look within the organization. Is there anywhere else we can fit them? Because like we said, we all don't know what the future of work looks like just yet, but we know the change is coming. So it's just trying to see how we adapt the current to the future.
Yeah.
I think that's one big thing that pops into my head when I think agentic AI as employees and its impact on the team.
Yeah, I think it's looking at. I think it's looking at it from the point of view that agentic AI is really about replacing tasks, not people. Right? People will still be needed. I'll give you an example. I'll use an example to paint the picture. So think of a and this real life example, garage owner. So garage owner had a receptionist whose job really was to sit down, and you're waiting, either calling people or taking calls, so mostly inbound service inquiries that the receptionist is supposed to be doing. They deploy voice AI agent to take inbound service inquiries, right? Now, by handing that off to an AI agent, they were able to rechannel the receptionist and to now spend more time upselling MOT bundles and extended warranties to their clients, because suddenly she had more time, and it was just a case of she effectively just turned that into more of a marketing and sales and customer service person.
One other thing
And
is
revenue
also,
went up.
yeah, and I've just going to say one other thing is also she gets more product knowledge, which means she can actually feel like a part of the business, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, because when you have product knowledge, it's easier to sell.
Mm.
And what I'm saying, you're selling the value that your company offers. So it's the mentality shifts. You're not just sat there, hello. It's not the easiest job to just pick up the phone, okay, put that in the phone, just all you do all day. So you just
do that.
Now part of your brain is doing more.
It's interesting, yes, because at the end of even the AI agent will need constant updating. So who's best placed to do that than this receptionist who has done the job? So you listen in, you see what's happening with customers, how are they engaging with the AI agent? Is there anything else that we can train the AI agent to do? So you're finding that more people are calling to do ABC. And then, okay, so maybe we can put that in place. And then what else can the agent do? Maybe if I can train it to do outbound calls, who knows? There's so many opportunities in there.
There are so many opportunities. And don't forget, like we keep going back to human in the loop.
Yes.
AI agents are trained to hand off to a human when it's struggling a bit. So if the main task is get people to book an appointment and is not able to achieve that, it can read tones. Say this customer sounds angry. Let me hand them off to a human who can, placate them and get the same objective that we set out to do anyway. So, there's always somebody in there, or there should always be someone in there to help achieve what the AI has been programmed to achieve.
Yeah. I think we probably have time for 2 more questions, and then we can probably call it a day. I mean, we can keep going on and on. So, what kind of mistakes have you found that small businesses make when it comes to adopting agentic AI and all things automation in general? And then 2, how do we keep these agents safe and prevent bad decisions?
Okay, I think if I go with the first question, I think we've covered it a bit, here and there. One is making sure that you don't spread yourself thin at the start. Is making sure that you pick one process, audit it, and then see how best you can automate that process, rather than, oh, let's do this and do this and do this and do this all at the same time using this tool, and then it doesn't work. Then they go back to square A and say, you know what, this thing is just not working. And that's always the case. That's one. The second thing is keeping the human out of the loop. When you take a person out, experience is lost. And so imagine if a company decides, you know what, we no longer need this role, and they let people off, and the agent doesn't do. They now have to spend more money to recruit again. But what they cannot get back is the experience that they've lost. So I think that's one valuable thing.
Did they happen to Salesforce, Chris?
Yeah. You have employees who know your systems like the back of their
hand. Yeah.
You do not want to lose that experience, because that experience, as humans, we're very malleable. If you're not working anywhere anymore here, you can be put somewhere else and you will adapt again. And it's just a matter of, making knowledge and skills available to people, and that experience is gold. And then I think the third thing is making sure that you're not building automation on a flawed process. That is, it's garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
And you will end up to, this thing is not working. But really, what is not working? Your process or the systems?
100%. And then I think one other thing to add to, because I think you make a very good point there. Start simple.
Yeah.
Not hard. I think a lot of people, they get so excited about what AI can do and agents and automation can do. Okay, do you know what? I've got this process and it causes me a lot of pain, and it starts here, it moves in there, it goes to the other place, it comes back, it goes. I think you made the point very well earlier. Look for something simple, start there, get the wins, and then keep layering on and move towards the complex. Yep. But I think what
excited, I'm like, I just need to save. And it's also being cautious in who you partner with in it's because if you're not getting someone who's really, I want to believe service providers mean well, especially coming to partner with someone, but it's got to be someone who also values what you value. So it's I've really come here to offer you a service and add value to your business, because when I add value to you, you add value to me. Yeah. So if you take from that perspective, someone who comes and says, we'll just roll out all of this. One, you as a business owner, it goes over your head because you're thinking, which one am I supposed to have my head into? And if you can't, it means you're handing everything over. It's your process. So they can come set things up that you know nothing about. They move on, and then you're down with a flawed or a process that you can't really figure out. At some point, there's no way you won't dump it because it's just not working for you. And that's because you've not been completely involved in it. So it's just knowing, because if something breaks, I always say, if something breaks somewhere, okay, let's give you an example. A few weeks ago, everything went down. Cloudflare went down. ChatGPT wasn't working. Claude wasn't working. Imagine if you had processes linked to this and they needed to go to there are tasks that needed to happen, and there were no humans who could what's that word?
Pick it up or fill the gap.
Open it up and think, okay, this is where it stopped. Let's carry on from there. You're in trouble, depending on the type of business you run. So it just makes it more glaring that you need people who know what they're doing, who's fixed these sort of things before when things are broken down. It's troubleshoot was the word I'm looking for.
Troubleshoot, yes. Yeah, very good at troubleshooting. Okay. So, final words. What does the future look like for agentic AI in small business?
I think with all the guardrails, I don't know, you might have a different, I think with all the guardrails and with all the guardrails in place, I think it would be the way to go, because there's so many benefits to using them. More efficiency, obviously increased revenue, growth, and you're able
to scale
value. Yes. And you're able to increase in the value that you provide for your customers, which is what you want. You want excellent customer service. If you can do that without the hassle of thinking about, now I have to do this manual, it's not just time saving, it's also kind of just, it's the value that you increased, the value that you're providing is increased to your clients. So I think it's the way to go. Businesses, yes, need to dip their toes in gently, and I don't think there's any business that cannot have some sort of automation, agentic workflows within their business. Everybody might think, oh, I don't really want to do this. Yes, marketing is there. Marketing, I don't know that any other industry does personalization as good as that industry does. And they use AI because now you know what a client wants and you know where to meet them, when to meet them, and there is no, oh, you understand what I'm trying to. That industry understands customer service and they use personalization. So, I mean, okay, maybe the very high end luxury where one to one contact is important, that might be a different discussion, but the operations at the back end could do with that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll be different for each business. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it'll be different for each business, it'll be different for each industry, for different industries. But saying that, I believe that in the future, and not so distant future, every small business will have at least one digital worker in every function.
Yes.
Every function. I think yeah, I think so. Doing something, because there's hardly any function in any business today that doesn't require that doesn't involve some sort of grunt work. So you can start from the very basic and goes on, because and I think what we will see more of will be a collaboration, between humans and AI. So these AI or digital employees or digital workers will start getting treated like real staff,
Yes.
but they will be operating 24/7. They will add more
What
speed.
you said now is another benefit. Humans cannot operate 24/7. There's some
Yeah,
industries
you
that
need to run shifts.
not stop.
Yeah, it's already happening in the car production. Manufacturers have been using technology automation to speed up how they deliver. So I think this is just the digital equivalent that we're starting to see. And they can do all that with zero margin. And I think I'll leave us with this picture. So think of a three-person real estate or estate agency.
Yeah.
They will probably have, I think they'll probably have 6 agents. I think I see that happening. I think they're going to have one agent for listings. They're going to have one agent for lead follow-up.
Yeah.
They're going to have one agent who's going to be collecting rent. They're going to have an agent that'll be doing the part of the due diligence, property docs, looking at it to make sure it's there. They're going to have one for compliance, and they'll probably have another one for weekly reporting. 6 agents. So, and I think that's the direction of travel we can expect to see in the future. And when we say future, it's probably going to be sometime in 2026, 27.
Oh, yes. And it's so advanced. It's moving so fast that one thing I would say, there is one, I'm sure most organizations have one tool or the other. So I would say, rather than go out and purchase new shiny objects, look at the AI functionality of the tools you already have. You might be surprised that it can do some of these things already. So you don't have to layer any more costs on what you currently use. And I think it's also just the redefinition of the world of work, the redefinition of the org chart as we know it today is bound to happen. It's just that you see one person and under it, those 6 agents that you've just mentioned will be one human manager making sure that it
comes together. Yeah, 100%. And I think probably in one of our future conversations, Tosin, we'll probably want to start unpicking some of the how would you do it if I was a one-person business? How do I do that? Probably be a good conversation to have about the various tools out there, the simple ones, the easy ones, and how one can do this in 2026 without a lot of technical expertise.
Yes. insights. And I mean, hopefully we'll have comments under here where it can really help us drive the conversation as to what pain points, because really what we would like this to be is for us to help crowd source the problems that we kind of talk about on here, so that they're really tangible and actionable for the people.
100%. Tosi, always a pleasure. Look forward to and I think everybody can look forward to an exciting next episode.
Yes, so we'll see you again next week.
See you next time. Bye.
All right. Thank you.